Which leads to my second question, but I guess you've maybe already answered it. It's finding what really passionates me. I've been a conference interpreter for 24 years, and it's been a great job. I've loved it, but now I'm tired of speaking for other people, so I'd like to find my own voice. The thing is, I'm passionate about a lot of subjects that I think I begin to be passionate about a lot of things, but nothing really stays at the level of my heart, which I think is...
But that's because the answer to this question is exactly like the earlier question that we just were discussing. Not enough time in the vortex and too much time out of the vortex. In other words, when you want it but, you never shore up this part of it. In other words, you keep yourself in that sort of fragmented place, so nothing can take form. But when you want it and align with it and want it and have an occasional but or panic button, it's that weight and balance. It's the more time you spend trusting and acknowledging, then the ideas will begin to flow to you. Really, when you say, and you said it so clearly, you make our answers very easy to speak in a way that everyone can hear it clearly, because your question is clearly presented. When you are having trouble finding your own voice, because there are so many things to choose from, that only means you haven't found something and held your ground, and then reached just beyond it and held your ground, and just reached beyond it and held your ground. In other words, under those conditions, you find your voice. You carve it out of the life experience that you're living, you see. But when life takes you there and you don't go, and life takes you there and you don't go, and life takes you there and you don't go because you panic over that and you worry about that and you worry about that and you respond to life, then what happens is, even though you have a sense that you have a lot to say, you can't hear what it is because you're not habitually in the vibrational vicinity of it. But we promise you, it's vivid and it's real and it's calling out to you. And as you trust a little more and panic a little less and just ease your way in, you will find it. Also, we want to say to you, you're doing really, really well. And this conversation is about fine-tuning. Also, we want to say to you that this expansion that you are upon, it's like when people come to us often, they say, "Oh, Abraham, it's so exhilarating because it felt like I'd saved up all this stuff I wanted, and then I learned some stuff from you and I just chilled out a little bit, and then all kinds of stuff started coming into my experience." And we say, it's sort of like pulling a rubber band back, and when you let go, it goes really, really far. But many of you now have sort of already settled into that. In other words, you've already received the benefit of what you have previously put into your vortex. And now you're in the process of putting more in and lining up with it, and putting more in and lining up with it. And under those conditions, it doesn't feel as compelling. In other words, the further you are from what you want, the more you think you will go over the moon when you get it. But you're so far apart, you can't get it. Esther said to Jerry, and really meant it, "Honey, why don't you buy me that beautiful car? It would make me happy for the afternoon." And it's really about that long lasting, because the desire is not strong in relationship to what's possible. In other words, your ability to ask and receive begins to settle in as a more of a confidence and feeling of well-being, rather than a knock me down, give me a heart attack over something. You see what we're getting at? You are more stable than you are giving yourself credit. So just lighten up and hold steady to the idea that it's already there, and that you're going to do more deliberate relaxing into the vortex where you can see the next logical step. And that is the most important phrase that we want you to take away from this conversation. When you're in the vortex, your inspiration doesn't feel like, "Oh, this is an earth-shaking thing that's going to change the world." Are you listening? What it feels like is the next logical step, the next logical step, the next logical step. And we think so often, so many of you have stood outside your vortex pining for things that were not vibrationally accessible to you yet, believing that if you could just release this burden of this $9,000 debt, or this burden of not having something that you want, that then you would soar off into the atmosphere. And we want you to understand that is illogical in the sense that it defies the law of attraction as we know it to be. Creation is about preparing yourself for the next logical step. And the next logical step doesn't feel like it's taking you to the moon. So, we have just explained to you, and we love doing it, why so many people hold themselves longer out of the vortex than is prudent or necessary. You like the drama. You like the drama. You like to get really, 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 really desperately void of what you want. And then you like to ask for miracles to supply you with the fulfillment of what you want. Only the miracles are slow in coming. And so then you give God a bad rap. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, and God was always out to lunch, you say. And when you accept that you are the creator of you, and that you have created masterfully something that is really pleasing, and then you allow yourself the ease of getting into the vortex and the inspiration of the next logical step, then what you begin to discover is how delicious and steady and secure and sure and stable and steady this platform of well-being is that you're standing on.
Thank you. Yes.
Further back. Stand if you think it's you. Further forward. Turn around. You're looking the wrong direction. You are the one.